शंकर जी की जटा से निकले निर्मल गंगा पानी। कोई कहे तुझे गंगा माता, कोई कहे महारानी। शंकर जी की जटा से निकले निर्मल गंगा पानी। कोई कहे तुझे गंगा माता, कोई कहे महारानी, कोई कहे महारानी। तोहे निश्चय फूल चढ़ाए जो तेरी आरती गावे, वो सुख शांति पावे जो तेरी आरती गावे। जय जय गंगा माता जो तेरी आरती गावे, वो सुख शांति पावे जो तेरी आरती गावे। हर हर गंगे जय माँ गंगे, हर हर गंगे जय माँ गंगे, हर हर गंगे जय माँ गंगे, हर हर गंगे जय माँ गंगे। ओम जय गंगे माता, श्री जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुझको ध्याता, जो नर तुझको ध्याता, मन वांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, जय गंगे माता, श्री जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुझको ध्याता, जो नर तुझको ध्याता, मन वांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। चंद्र सी ज्योत तुम्हारी, जल निर्मल आता। मैया जल निर्मल आता। शरण पड़े जो तेरी, शरण पड़े जो तेरी, सोनर तर जाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। पुत्र सगर के तारे, सब जग को ज्ञाता। मैया सब जग को ज्ञाता। कृपा दृष्टि तुम्हारी, कृपा दृष्टि तुम्हारी, त्रिभुवन सुख दाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। एक ही बार जो तेरी शरणागति आता, मैया शरणागति आता। यम जो जन निकलाता, दास वही सहज में, दास वही सहज में मुक्ति को पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता, श्री जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुझको ध्याता, जो नर तुझको ध्याता, मन वांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, जय गंगे माता, श्री जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुझको ध्याता, जो नर तुझको ध्याता, मन वांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता। ओम श्री सद्गुरु परमात्मने नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरु परमात्मने नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरु भगवान शिवानंदाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरु भगवान शिवानंदाय नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः। गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ज्ञानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्ति, पूजामूलं गुरोर्पदं, मंत्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यं, मोक्षमूलं गुरोर्कृपा। मोक्षमूलं शिवानन्दाकृपा। ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं, द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम्। एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं, भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। यस्यान्तर्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं, नाम गोत्रं न सूत्रं, नो जातिर्नैव वर्णं, न भवति पुरुषो नो नपुंसं न च स्त्री। नाकारं नो विकारं, न हि जननमरणं, नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं, नो तत्त्वं तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। चैतन्यं शाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमातीतं निरञ्जनं, ज्ञानबिन्दुकलातीतं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानमूलहरणं जन्मकर्मनिवारणं, ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यार्थं गुरुपादोदकं पिबेत्। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं, तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय गुरवे सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये, निष्प्रपञ्चाय शान्ताय निरालम्बाय तेजसे, नित्यशुभं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं, नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुब्रह्मा नमाम्यहम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने, व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषजे भवरोगिणां, गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्ते नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरुदेव की जय।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश
पाहि मां। श्री गणेश श्री गणेश श्री गणेश रक्ष मां। जय सरस्वती जय सरस्वती जय सरस्वती पाहि मां। श्री सरस्वती श्री सरस्वती श्री सरस्वती रक्ष मां। जय श्री दुर्गा जय श्री दुर्गा जय श्री दुर्गा पाहि मां। जय श्री दुर्गा जय श्री दुर्गा जय श्री दुर्गा रक्ष मां। जय श्री काली जय श्री काली जय श्री काली पाहि मां। जय श्री काली जय श्री काली जय श्री काली रक्ष मां। जय श्री लक्ष्मी जय श्री लक्ष्मी जय श्री लक्ष्मी पाहि मां। जय श्री लक्ष्मी जय श्री लक्ष्मी जय श्री लक्ष्मी रक्ष मां। सरवण भव सरवण भव सरवण भव पाहि मां। सुब्रह्मण्य 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 रक्ष मां। दत्तात्रेय 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 पाहि मां। दत्त गुरु रक्ष मां। शिवानंद 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 पाहि मां। शिवानंद 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 रक्ष मां। जय गुरु शिव गुरु हरि गुरु राम। जगत गुरु परम गुरु सद्गुरु श्याम। आदि गुरु अद्वैत गुरु आनंद गुरु ओम। चित गुरु चिन्मय गुरु चिन्माया गुरु ओम। जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम। जय सिया राम जय जय सिया राम। जय राधे श्याम जय जय राधे श्याम। जय राधे श्याम जय जय राधे श्याम। जय हनुमान जय जय हनुमान। जय हनुमान जय जय हनुमान। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। शिवानंदा शिवानंदा सद्गुरुनाथा। शिवानंदा 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 सद्गुरुनाथा। शिवानंदा 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 सद्गुरुनाथा। शिवानंदा। जय गुरुदेव दयानिधि दीन हितकारी। जय जय मोह विनाशक भवबंधनहारी। जय देव गुरुदेव जय देव गुरुदेव। ब्रह्मा विष्णु सदा शिव गुरु मूर्ति धारी। वेद पुराण बखानत गुरु महिमा भारी। जय देव गुरुदेव जय देव गुरुदेव। जप तप तीरथ संयम दान विविध दीने। गुरु बिन ज्ञान न होवे बोधि जतन कीने। जय देव गुरुदेव जय देव गुरुदेव। माया मोहन दी जल जीव बहे सारी। दे कर में गुरु सब संहारे। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। नाना पंथ जगत में निज निज गुण गावे, सबका सार बता कर गुरु मार्ग लावे। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। गुरु चरणामृत निर्मल सब बाधक हारी, वचन सुनत तम नाशे सब संशय तारी। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। तन मन धन सब अर्पण गुरु चरणन की जय। शिवानंद परम पद मोक्ष गति लीजे। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। ओम जय गुरुदेव दयानिधि दीन हितकारी। जय जय मोह विनाशक भवबंधनहारी। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव।
O adorable Lord of mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent and omniscient. Thou art Satchidananda. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptations and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, greed, anger and hatred. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember thee. Let us be ever loyal to thee. Let us ever sing thy glories. Let thy name be ever on our lips. Let us abide in thee forever and ever. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O all-merciful Gurudev, every thought of my mind, every emotion of my heart, every movement of my being, every feeling and every sensation, each cell of my body, each drop of my blood, all is yours, Gurudev, yours absolutely, yours without any reserve. Gurudev, you can decide my life or my death, my happiness or my sorrow, my pleasure or my pain. Gurudev, whatever you do with me, whatever comes to me from you, will lead me to your lotus feet. Gurudev, you have provided us with the best facilities in the world for our spiritual growth. May we take full advantage of this precious gift of yours, Gurudev. May we look upon the ashram and all its contents as your body and treat them with love and reverence. This is our heartfelt prayer to you, Gurudev. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Deva Sivananda Dinabandhu Mahima. Deva Deva Sivananda Dinabandhu Mahima. Chandravadana Mandahasa Vimarupa Rakshama. Chandravadana Mandahasa Vimarupa Rakshama. Madhura Gita Gana Lola Jnana Rupa Mahima. दिव्य गंगा तीरवासा दानशीला पाहि मां। दिव्य गंगा तीरवासा दानशीला पाहि मां। पापहरण पुण्यशीला परम पुरुषा रक्ष मां। पापहरण पुण्यशीला परम पुरुषा रक्ष मां। भक्तयोगा हृदयवासा स्वामी नादा पाहि मां। भक्तयोगा हृदयवासा स्वामी नादा पाहि मां। चित्स्वरूपा चिदानन्दा नमः शिवाय रक्ष मां। चित्स्वरूपा चिदानन्दा नमः शिवाय रक्ष मां। शिवानन्दा 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 पाहि मां। शिवानन्दा 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 पाहि मां। शिवानन्दा 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 रक्ष मां। शिवानन्दा 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 रक्ष मां। सद्गुरु जय सद्गुरु जय सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां। सद्गुरु जय सद्गुरु जय सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां। सद्गुरु जय सद्गुरु जय सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां। सद्गुरु जय सद्गुरु जय सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां। गंगारानी 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 पाहि मां। गंगारानी 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 पाहि मां। भागीरथी 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 रक्ष मां। भागीरथी 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 रक्ष मां। देवा देवा शिवानन्दा दीनबन्धो पाहि मां। देवा देवा शिवानन्दा दीनबन्धो पाहि मां। चन्द्रवदना मन्दहास प्रेमरूपा रक्ष मां। चन्द्रवदना मन्दहास प्रेमरूपा रक्ष मां।
श्री राम
जय राम जय जय राम भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय राम ओ श्री राम जय राम
शिरमुकुट कुण्डल तिलक
ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, राह में आए जो दीन दुखी, राह में आए जो दीन दुखी, सबको गले से लगा के चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। जिसका न कोई संगी साथी, ईश्वर है रखवाला, जिसका न कोई संगी साथी, ईश्वर है रखवाला, जो निर्धन है जो निर्बल है, वो है प्रभु का प्यारा, जो निर्धन है जो निर्बल है, वो है प्रभु का प्यारा, प्यार का मोती प्यार का मोती उठाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। आशा रूठी ममता रूठी, छूट गया है किनारा, आशा रूठी ममता रूठी, छूट गया है किनारा, बंद करो मत द्वार दया का, दे दो मुझको सहारा, बंद करो मत द्वार दया का, दे दो मुझको सहारा, दीप दया का दीप दया का जलाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो।
Rama 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 Rama
ocean of love. He who is an ocean of mercy. He who is an ocean of compassion. To him I make my salutation. Rama, 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 Sita. Rama, 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 Sita. He who dwells in the hearts of all. He who controls the minds of all. He who directs the souls of all. To him I make my salutation. Rama, 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 Sita. Rama, 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 Sita. He who is my Gurudeva. He who is my mother and refuge. He who is my divine protector. To him I make my salutation. Rama, 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 Sita. Rama, 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 Sita. He whose actions are pure and selfless. He whose speech is comforting and soft. He whose looks are godlike and soothing. To him I make my salutation. Rama, 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 Sita. Rama, 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 Sita. He whose charity is boundless and limitless. He who gives and gives and gives. He who is known as Sivananda. To him I make my salutation. Rama, 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 Sita. Rama, 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 Sita. He whose teachings are simple and practical. He whose thoughts are lofty and divine. He whose writings are blessed by Saraswati. To him I make my salutation. Rama, 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 Sita. Rama, 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 पति भगति तुलसी सार सुदास रामा तुलसी सार सुदास राम नाम पर भरन जुग सावन भादव मास रामा सावन भादव मास सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम नाम मन दीप धरो जी हरे हरि द्वार रामा जी हरे हरि द्वार तुलसी भीतर बाहर हो जो चाहत उजियार रामा जो चाहत उजियार सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरणम शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। सकल कामना हीन जय राम भगत रसलीन रामा राम भगत रसलीन नाम सुप्रेम पीयूष हृद तिन्हु किय मन मीन रामा तिन्हु किय मन मीन सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। ब्रह्म राम के नाम भर वरदायक वरदान रामा वरदायक वरदान रामचरित सतकोट महल प्रिय महेश जिय जान रामा प्रिय महेश जिय जान सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम राम को कल्पतरु कलि कल्याण निवास रामा कलि कल्याण निवास जो सुमिरत भय भांगते तुलसी तुलसी दास रामा तुलसी तुलसी दास सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम नाम नर केसरी कनक कसिपु कनिकाल रामा कनक कसिपु कनिकाल चापक जन प्रहलाद जी पालहि दल सुरसाल रामा पालहि दल सुरसाल सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम अनंत अनंत गुण अमित कथा विस्तार रामा अमित कथा विस्तार सूर्या जल जुड़वानहि जिनके विमल विचार रामा जिनके विमल विचार सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम कथा सुर धेनु सम सेवत सब सुखदान रामा सेवत सब सुखदान सत समाज सुर लोक सब कौन सुने अस जान रामा कौन सुने अस जान सियावर
Om Shri Satguru Bhagavan Shivanandaye Nama. Om Shri Satguru Bhagavan Shivanandaye Nama. Om Shri Satguru Bhagavan Shivanandaye Nama. My salutations and prostrations at the lotus feet of our Divine Master, Sri Swami Sivananda, and beloved Pujya Swamiji. Hari Om and prostrations to all devotees, well-wishers, and donors. On behalf of our Divine Master, Sri Swami Sivananda, and Pujya Swami Sahajananda, we extend a warm and cordial welcome to all to our most auspicious Guru Purnima Satsang. We also extend a special welcome to donors, well-wishers, devotees tuning in for the first time, and those from abroad. We read from Guru Bhakti Yoga by Sri Swami Sivananda. Artha Turanam Na Gurur Bandhum. This means a person who hankers after wealth will not hesitate even to swindle his guru's property. Do not covet the wealth of the guru. The blessed guru, who is a liberated one, is ever peaceful and blissful. He has equal vision and a balanced mind. He is equal in honor and in dishonor, censure and praise, pleasure and pain. He is free from egoism, pride, anger, lust, and greed. He has no likes and dislikes, and has no attachment for anything. He is full of wisdom. He is childlike. He clears the doubts of the disciple merely by his sacred presence or through his gracious look. To serve the poor and the sick, to serve the guru and parents, to do charitable and noble acts, and to possess knowledge of the self by the grace of the guru are indeed supreme blessings. Om, message on the occasion of Guru Purnima. Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. We are glad to resume our physical satsangs alongside our online events, enabling us to have devotees of our Gurudev in our midst again. Guru Purnima, the most auspicious day in the calendar of spiritual seekers, is celebrated the world over to worship and offer gratitude and appreciation to the spiritual masters for their guidance, spiritual wisdom, and enlightenment. It is the day when seekers make fresh resolves on the spiritual path. This day marks the birth anniversary of the great sage Sri Vyasa. We pay obeisance to the great sage for his tremendous service to humanity by way of his editing of the 4 Vedas and writing the 18 Puranas, the Mahabharata, and the Srimad Bhagavatam. These are his priceless legacy to us. We pay obeisance also to all the divine incarnations, Brahma Vidya Gurus, Vedic Rishis, saints, and sages for their inestimable contribution to the peace, harmony, and spiritual evolution of the planet. Our Gurudev wrote as follows regarding this auspicious event, and I quote, "Mark fully the deep significance of this great day. Spiritual aspirants seriously begin to put into actual practice all the theory and philosophy that has been stored up in them through systematic and patient study. They commence or resolve to intensify with all earnestness their practical spiritual sadhana right from this day. This day of worship of one's preceptor is a day of pure joy to the sincere spiritual aspirant. Thrilled by the expectation of offering his reverent homage to the beloved Guru, aspirants await this occasion with eagerness and devotion. It is the Guru alone that breaks the binding cords of attachment and releases the aspirant from the trammels of earthly existence." Unquote. The grace of a Guru is very necessary. That does not mean that the disciple should sit idle. He must do rigid spiritual practices. The whole work must be done by the student. Today, seekers want a drop of water from the water pot of a sannyasin and desire to enter into the state of samadhi immediately. They are not prepared to undergo any kind of spiritual practice for purification and self-realization. They want a magic pill to push them into the state of God realization. If you have such kinds of delusion, give it up immediately, said our Divine Master. Saints and sages have, from ancient times, emphasized that the best form of worship of the Guru is to follow his teachings, to shine as the very embodiment of his teachings, and to propagate his glory and message. In Path of Divine Grace, Pujya Swami Sahajananda states, and I quote, "Just as you can give an orange to a man, so also spiritual power can be transmitted by one to another. A certain spiritual vibration of the Master is actually transferred to the mind of his disciple. Spiritual power is transmitted by the Guru to the proper disciple whom he considers fit." Unquote. Our Swamiji took Gurudev's teachings and sifted out what was most appropriate for us to follow in this modern age. At our workshop for the Society's officials, held at headquarters in March, we announced the theme selected for us this year is Back to Basics. As devotees of a great Mahatma, we have to remind ourselves of our reasons for coming to ashram and for wanting to follow a spiritual path. We should never lose sight of this, as it would determine how receptive we become to following the guidelines Pujya Swamiji has put in place for us. We need to constantly offer gratitude for all we have been blessed with, both in our secular lives and for our spiritual growth. We often forget to give thanks as we become so used to basking in the sunshine of Gurudev's benevolence and mercy. Guru Purnima is a time for spiritual seekers to take stock of themselves, take resolves to improve, and rededicate their loyalty and one-pointed devotion to the Divine Master's feet. Pujya Swamiji has chalked out various programs and pledges that we can take on. Some of these are the Home Satsang and Daily Prayer Pledge, Brahmacharya, Vegetarianism, and the Anti-Television Pledge. On this note, Swamiji may have included social media like Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, etc., if he were physically with us. There is any type of content available, and we all know how these media technologies have started stealing time on a daily basis for many. So, back to basics is essential. Even at ashram, we need to remind ourselves of the basics. Pujya Swamiji says that we must always acquaint ourselves and follow the rules of any institution we go to. It is a sign of respect and discipline. We hope to be opening up our ashrams further in the near future. We are very conservative and are consulting with medical professionals as we review our roadmap to a full reopening. Our gratitude to all the officials and devotees for so meticulously keeping to the safety protocols when we reopened. Our society has exceptionally disciplined devotees. During the lockdown, rules of the ashram had to be changed, and by and large, the devotees followed the protocols that were in place. We offer our gratitude to all who requested permission for entry to our ashrams and centers and for obeying the rules posted on our buildings. Many devotees work tirelessly in keeping the wheels turning at our ashram. Our projects committee never rested. We have senior retired devotees who still travel long distances to oversee projects on a weekly basis. Since the start of the lockdown, we completed 67 projects. These included assistance to 13 temples and Hindu religious organizations. We also had the official opening of our centenary project, the Sivananda Drakensberg Secondary School Hall in Escott, on 10th April this year. We performed the sod turning ceremony 3 days ago at our Santon branch in Buccleuch to start off our new ashram project to cater for the many devotees and youth who have relocated to Gauteng. During the past year, we also distributed health supplements and grocery hampers. Maintenance at our ashrams and centers is ongoing. We are glad to note that during the recent floods, our Sivananda International Cultural Center at La Mercy was saved from serious damage. The additional drainage and retainer blocks that were installed at the beginning of lockdown was Gurudev's unfailing guidance in action. Had this not been done, we could have had lots of washaways. Our devotees responsible for our press and publications also worked as Puja Swamiji would have expected them to. Many thousands of books are being printed, and the work of Jnana Yajna, or dissemination of our Master's literature, is progressing extremely well. We are glad to note that our retired devotees and some younger devotees have given time each week to work in our press and at our Shivananda Ghat. This is what Puja Swamiji would expect from us, at least to renounce part of our lives to regularly serve our Master. Shivananda Ghat was open throughout the pandemic and provided solace to thousands. Our school book distribution is also progressing well. We set stretch targets for Divine Life for junior children this year, and our press workers and volunteers are working enthusiastically at full speed to produce. Our Master asks unequivocally and at the same time reaffirms the role of the Guru, and I quote, "Do you realize now the sacred significance and the supreme importance of the Guru's role in the evolution of man? It is therefore not without reason that India, year after year, age after age, commemorates anew this ancient concept of the Holy Guru, adores it and pays homage to it again and again, and thereby reaffirms its belief and allegiance to it. For the true Hindu knows that the Guru is the only real guarantee for the individual to transcend the bondage of sorrow and death, of pain and misery, and experience the bliss and peace of the reality." Unquote. We have also experienced the grace and workings of Gurudev's miracles in other areas. Gurudev says, "Take care of my mission and I will take care of you." Devotees have reported how, through firm faith in Gurudev and in continuing their work for Gurudev, they have recovered from serious illnesses and that their health has improved. Devotees are also seeing Gurudev's grace in their lives more and more and are accepting our Master's will more readily in situations that confront them. This is most inspiring to us. Sadly, many of us lost close family and friends during the lockdown. It was very noticeable to see the spiritual strength and courage shine through our fellow devotees during the most trying times. This is evidence of our Gurudev's grace and the benefits of regular sadhana. Our deep gratitude to all the devotees, well-wishers, patrons and officials of the society who lend support to the society and who work to promote Gurudev's name and mission in this country. We thank all devotees who attend satsangs and religiously perform their daily sadhana and keep the strong positive vibrations growing in the troubled world we live in. We also offer our deep gratitude to our Bhagwan Sivananda, Puja Swamiji, and Ganga Mata for the love, guidance, and protection that they bestow upon us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sivanandaya. We continue with our reading from Sivananda's Gospel of Divine Life. Try again and again. In reply to a visitor's request for instructions, the Master said, "Complain not if you do not receive food or tea. Do not complain. If anybody abuses you, remain silent like a block of stone." The Master questioned another disciple, "Is it impossible to remain silent when abused?" He continued, "Fear not, despair not. Move fearlessly, march like a hero. Detach, attach, D-I-N. Do it now. T-I-N, try it now. K-I-V, keep in view. Explaining T-I-N, which was a comparatively new addition to his abbreviated instructions, the Master said again, "Tin, try it now." On hearing it, Zal Mataji replied, "Even after trying, one does not get success." "If there is no success," said the Master, "try again. Try again and again." Remember the story of Bruce and the spider. I think Bruce failed 9 times. Even if you fail 90 times, you should try again. God's Darshan. A visitor narrated to the Master a strange phenomenon. A milkman appeared before him at a time when no milkman could be expected to be there. The still stranger thing was that one of the hands of the milkman was brighter than the other. The visitor had a doubt whether the man was a form taken by God or just an illusion, since he did not think that he deserved such grace. The Master said, "You should know whether it was an illusion or not." The visitor admitted his inability to know. Thereupon, the Master said, "You should not tell such experiences to others." The visitor immediately replied, "You are my Guru. An aspirant should reveal everything to his Guru." The Master then closed his eyes for a while and, on opening them, said, "It was not an illusion." After a few moments, he added, "God had given you darshan." "Was it real darshan?" asked the visitor. "Just to give you encouragement, he gave darshan." Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
I can only talk on that aspect where Gurudev has given some little experience, although the experience perhaps has not been experienced fully, but it's better to talk on something that we have experienced in our lives rather than reading from the books and giving out that type of knowledge. I told you that if I ever write a book, it will be the book on divine grace. And that is the method that I feel is the most effective method of realizing God, of making progress and going towards Him. As I said, there are innumerable approaches. The different types of yoga, different type of practices, hundreds of them. But what Gurudev has revealed to me is that the path of divine grace is the safest path. It's the quickest path for those who have courage, who have a great deal of strength and a great deal of trust in God. The path of divine grace works very rapidly. The other day, I was reading in the magazine, a question was put to Mother Teresa, what is the meaning of love? And she gave a very beautiful answer. She said, it's very difficult to explain what love is, but it's very easy to practice it. Similarly, it's very difficult to explain how divine grace works and what it is. But it's very easy to experience it and see its power working. So you will have to try and experience it yourself, and then you'll know how it works. With my own case, from the very beginning, I saw its action in my life and in the work of the Divine Life Society. So Gurudev has given some little bit of experience. See, I didn't know anything about initiation, and Gurudev gave it himself. We didn't want an ashram. I was always opposing it and was strongly determined that we should never have an ashram, and yet it came. I didn't want sannyas, and yet Gurudev gave it. So all that came from God, it came spontaneously. Whatever you see here, it is all the work of divine grace. And the wonderful thing was that I was always opposing it for quite a long period. And yet it had its way, whether divine grace will work in everyone under such circumstances and conditions, I wouldn't know. But I'm only telling you from my own experience to give you an idea. So, what you've seen outside is perhaps the material side, the material growth of the Divine Life Society. So you too are sitting here because of divine grace. If that divine grace didn't act, if Gurudev didn't tell us to buy this piece of land, see, you are sitting on that portion of the land that Gurudev said you must buy, not the one that we bought originally. It goes along the path. 2 acres we bought, so he said, buy another 3 acres. And where you are sitting today, they're all divided into plots. So we had to buy a number of plots consolidated. So you are sitting on divine grace. He had foreseen. So everything worked through divine grace. So when people come here and praise us, or write letters of praise, I destroy those letters. Very few, hardly anything we keep. Because why should we keep it when we know the truth that God has done everything? And that God is doing everything. And the net result is that we have no fear at all. No fear, no anxiety. Because if you start something yourself, you have a certain amount of attachment to it. But when you know that God has started it and He will take care of it, then you have no fear and no anxiety as to the future. So everything is a question of divine grace. But divine grace will not work haphazardly or capriciously. It also wants certain conditions. Those are the fundamental conditions that perhaps we want in all walks of life, in secular life also. We've spoken about faith, and all the saints have spoken about faith. But unless, as I said, you experience it, you practice it, it will not mean very much to you. So when that faith is there and your inner eye opens, the divine knowledge, the higher knowledge starts descending, then you understand everything fairly clearly. But the fullness doesn't come all at once. The full experience of divine grace doesn't come in a flood. We get it in glimpses so that we can understand and see how God's will operates. At the moment I saw how Gurudev's grace was operating, how this power, call it God's power or Guru's grace or whatever it is, it's all the same thing. But for convenience sake, I will call it Gurudev's grace, Guru's grace. So when you see it operating and doing things in such a marvelous manner, you cannot but accept that it is divine grace that is working. So the only type of sadhana that was perhaps good for me was to cooperate with that grace. If anything went wrong, well, there was no cooperation with that grace. So that is what I've been trying to do. But as I said, the fullness of the experience perhaps will come. And divine grace can do wonderful things. See, marvelous, most marvelous power. See, Aurobindo says that will is a great power, sincerity is greater than that, but the highest and greatest power is the power of grace. Because when God takes over everything and He guides you, He takes you in His arms, then everything goes on quite safely. But when you do everything independently, there is always the danger that you will slip. So the very first condition, again we will sum up today, is that faith is necessary on the path. Not only on the spiritual path, but in any endeavor. See, we have faith and we have confidence, trust. They all mean the same thing. So it's very difficult to understand the action of divine grace unless you have a certain amount of faith that God operates, that God is doing everything. The truth is that everything is done by God. Everything is possessed by God. And saints have spoken to us in their own mystical way that God Himself is playing the part of the devotee. See, God Himself is evolving. So everything is done by God. Even the so-called bad is also ultimately traceable to God's action. So the one purpose of divine grace is to take you and give you that experience, is to take you towards Him. And that is the only purpose of the action of divine grace. Now I'm talking to you about not the path of self-effort predominantly, but God leading you. I said that it's the safest path. There's not much chance of going astray. Even if you go astray, the divine grace will put you on the right track. But when we start thinking for ourselves, when there's less reliance upon God, there's more chances that we might go along the wrong way. But when divine grace is leading you, and as I said, that you have to be conscious of it, then everything goes on fairly safely. We said that when divine grace leads you, you cannot practice this yoga of divine grace until you have faith and until also you have a great deal of strength and courage. Because divine grace will lead you also into trouble. Because its aim is to take you toward itself. And what appears a trouble to you is not trouble to itself. For example, you see how the mother treats the child. She gives the child castor oil, which is distasteful to the child, but the mother knows the usefulness of that medicine. So that is how divine grace works. So there is very little questioning. In divine grace we don't question much, we accept. And in my own case, from the very beginning of my association with Gurudev, there was that acceptance almost in totality. I couldn't remember any period in my life when there was any flickering of faith in the Master.
Parama अखिल भुवन हरिवाला, हरि हरि ये मन लोला, दीननाथ ने पावा, द्वार लोटने बाबा, दीननाथ ने पावा, द्वार लोटने बाबा। परम पावना कृष्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा, परम पावना कृष्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा। देवकी प्रिय गोपाला, दीन दयाला नमो नमो। देवकी प्रिय गोपाला, दीन दयाला नमो नमो। रुक्मणी प्रिय गोविंदा, अधिरूप सुंदरा नमो नमो। रुक्मणी प्रिय गोविंदा, अधिरूप सुंदरा नमो नमो। परम पावना कृष्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा, परम पावना कृष्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा। श्रीधर वन मुरली मनोहर मानव देवा नमो नमो। श्रीधर वन मुरली मनोहर मानव देवा नमो नमो। गोकुल नंदन मोहन रोगन गोवर्धन ने नमो नमो। गोकुल नंदन मोहन रोगन गोवर्धन ने नमो नमो। परम पावना कृष्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा, परम पावना कृष्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा। करुणाकर परंदामा, करुणाकर परंदामा। शरणागति पुगंदो में, शरणागति पुगंदो में। परम पावना कृष्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा, परम पावना कृष्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा, परमात्मन परिपूर्णा।
शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की।
सज्जन यही समय है आओ, शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की। सज्जन यही समय है आओ, छल कपट और झूठ को त्यागो। जय जयकार हो। शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सजन यही सवेरे आओ। शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सजन यही सवेरे आओ। हाथ जोड़ करते विनती हम तेरे ही चरणों पे शीश निभाओ। हाथ जोड़ करते विनती हम तेरे ही चरणों पे शीश निभाओ। जय जय स्वामी जय जय सजन यही सवेरे आओ। शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सजन यही सवेरे आओ। स्वामी शिवानंद कह गए वाणी। 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 Purify, meditate, realize. Swami Shivananda कह गए वाणी। सर्वज्ञ purify, meditate, realize. जय जय स्वामी जय 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 स्वामी ऋषिकेश वासा। आपका जय जयकार हो। जय जय स्वामी ऋषिकेश वासा। आपका जय जयकार हो। शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सजन यही सवेरे आओ। शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सजन यही सवेरे आओ। गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय। परम शिवानंद जय जय। गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय। परम शिवानंद जय जय। गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय। परम शिवानंद जय जय। गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय। परम शिवानंद जय जय। गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय। सद्गुरु शिवानंद जय जय। गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय। सद्गुरु शिवानंद जय जय। गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय। सद्गुरु शिवानंद जय जय। गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय। सद्गुरु शिवानंद जय जय। गुरु महाराज शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय गुरुनाथ शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय गुरुनाथ शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय गुरुनाथ शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय परमात्मा शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय परमात्मा शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय परमात्मा शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय परमात्मा शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय जगत गुरु शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय जगत गुरु शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय जगत गुरु शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय जगत गुरु शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय भगवान शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय भगवान शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय भगवान शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय भगवान शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय परब्रह्मन शिवानंद जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय परब्रह्मन शिवानंद जय जय
देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां चंद्रवदन मंदहास प्रेम रूप रक्ष मां चंद्रवदन मंदहास प्रेम रूप रक्ष मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि ज्ञान रूप पाहि मां मधुर गीत गान लोल ज्ञान रूप पाहि मां समस्त लोक पूजनीय मोहनांग रक्ष मां समस्त लोक पूजनीय मोहनांग देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां तीरवास दानशील पाहि मां दिव्य गंगा तीरवास दानशील पाहि मां पाप हरण पुण्यशील परम पुरुष रक्ष मां पाप हरण पुण्यशील परम पुरुष रक्ष मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां लोक हृदयवास स्वामीनाथ पाहि मां भक्त लोक हृदयवास स्वामीनाथ पाहि मां चित स्वरूप चिदानंद शिवानंद रक्ष मां चित स्वरूप चिदानंद शिवानंद रक्ष मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां चंद्रवदन मंदहास प्रेम रूप रक्ष मां चंद्रवदन मंदहास प्रेम रूप रक्ष मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि
सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां
भक्त लोक हृदयवास स्वामीनाथ पाहि मां भक्त स्वामीनाथ पाहि मां चित स्वरूप चिदानंद शिवानंद रक्ष मां चित स्वरूप चिदानंद शिवानंद रक्ष मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां चंद्रवदन मंदहास प्रेम रूप रक्ष मां चंद्रवदन मंदहास प्रेम रूप रक्ष मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि मां देव देव शिवानंद दीनबंधु पाहि
सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय पाहि मां सद्गुरु जय शिवानंद सद्गुरु जय रक्ष मां
भजले राम का नाम तो भजले राम नाम 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 राम नाम के दो अक्षर में राम नाम के दो अक्षर में राम नाम के दो अक्षर में तीन लोक चारों धाम भजो रे भाई रघुराई मेरा पार करेंगे राम भजो रे भाई रघुराई मेरा पार करेंगे राम भजले राम का नाम तू भजले राम नाम भजले राम का नाम तू भजले राम नाम भजले राम का नाम तू भजले राम नाम भजले राम का नाम तू भजले कछु और न भाई, राम बिना कछु और न भाई। जब जब मन का धीरज टूटे, जब जब मन का धीरज टूटे, राम नाम होठों पर आए, राम नाम होठों पर आए। जब तक तन है ये जीवन है, जब तक तन है ये जीवन है, जब तक तन है ये जीवन है। कर ले बस ये काम भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। 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 मेरे मन मंदिर के भीतर लखन सिया संग राम विराजे। मेरे मन मंदिर के भीतर लखन सिया संग राम विराजे। सावली सूरत जब जब देखो, सासों का मंजीरा बाजे। बड़े भाग जो मेरे मेरे, बड़े भाग जो मेरे मेरे, ओ बड़े भाग जो मेरे मेरे। पाया ये वरदान, भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। 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 सुर मुनि जिसकी महिमा गाते, सुर मुनि जिसकी महिमा गाते। जिसके चूड़े भर से ही तो, जिसके चूड़े भर से ही तो। पत्थर भी जीवन पा जाते, पत्थर भी जीवन पा जाते। नाम उसी का रटता है मन, नाम उसी का रटता है मन। नाम उसी का रटता है मन। सुबह हो या शाम, भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। 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 पाप कटे मेरे जीवन के, प्राणों में छाया उजियारा। माया का सब मैल धो गई, राम नाम की पावन धारा। माया का सब मैल धो गई, राम नाम की पावन धारा। हे रघुनंदन तेरा वंदन, हे रघुनंदन तेरा वंदन। हे रघुनंदन तेरा भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। धरती अंबर चांद सितारे, सब में है उसकी छाया। धरती अंबर चांद सितारे, सब में है उसकी छाया। एक वही सच है इस जग में, और सभी कुछ है बस माया। फिर काहे को करता है रे,
फिर काहे को करता है,
ओ फिर काहे को करता है रे। तू इतना अभिमान, भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। 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 केवट को भी गले लगाया, केवट को भी गले लगाया। शबरी के झूठे बैलों में, शबरी के झूठे बैलों में। परम भक्ति का रस जो पाया, परम भक्ति का रस जो पाया। उसके लिए है एक बराबर,
उसके लिए है एक बराबर,
उसके लिए है एक बराबर। निर्धन और धनवान, भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजो रे भाई रघुराई, मेरा पार करेंगे राम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम। भजले राम का नाम, तू भजले राम नाम।
Om, kindly take note of the following announcements. We invite devotees and the public to attend the following forthcoming satsangs. The most auspicious 59th Mahasamadhi anniversary of beloved Sri Gurudev is tomorrow, the 14th of July. There will be an online morning sadhana program from 6 a.m. until 6:25 a.m. Online Ganga Arati as well as Ganga Arati at Sivananda Ashram Reservoir Hills is at 5:30 p.m. followed by Satsang. There will be a Khanda chanting from 5 a.m. until 5 p.m. tomorrow. Devotees are urged to join in the chanting during one or more of the hourly slots in the comfort of their homes. A Khanda chanting will also be held at Sivananda Ashram, Reservoir Hills. There will be daily online satsang at 5:30 p.m. until 14th of July, commencing with Ganga Arati. Our online yoga camp will be on Sunday, the 17th of July, commencing with the morning home sadhana program from 6 a.m. until 9:45 a.m. Yoga camp lessons are from 9:45 to 10:45 a.m. Lesson topics are an attitude of gratitude and lessons from the Ramayana. Yoga camp satsang is from 11 a.m. until 12 noon. Sri Gurudev's 59th Mahasamadhi anniversary satsang, according to the Sanskrit calendar, will be observed on Friday, the 22nd of July. Online Ganga Arati as well as Ganga Arati at Sivananda Ashram Reservoir Hills is at 5:30 p.m. followed by satsang. The launch of our 41-day recital of Sri Hanuman Chalisa will be on Saturday, the 30th of July at our ashrams and branches and online. The recital will culminate on Thursday, the 8th of September 2022, being the 135th birth anniversary of our Divine Master Sri Swami Sivananda. Pledge forms may be completed online or at our ashrams and branches. Completed pledge forms will be offered at the shrine on the launch day. The online launch will be at 5:30 p.m. commencing with Ganga Arati, and at Sivananda Ashram, Reservoir Hills, commencing with Ganga Arati at 4:30 p.m. From the 1st of August 2022, our ashrams and branches will also open for Sri Hanuman Chalisa recitals on Thursdays. Sivananda Ashram Reservoir Hills will also open on a Tuesday for Ramayan Satsangs. During the most auspicious Guru Purnima period, the Society will be distributing 1,500 grocery hampers to indigent families at an approximate cost of 300 Rand per hamper. Devotees wishing to contribute may do so via our fundraisers or via EFT. Puja Swamiji has given elaborate descriptions in our books of the value of the Maha Mrityunjaya mantra, Agnihotra, and Sri Hanuman Chalisa. Devotees are urged to continue with these practices regularly for their own safety and protection. Agnihotra will also help to bring rain. As per Puja Swamiji's advice, the Maha Mrityunjaya mantra should be repeated all the time while driving. If we cannot repeat the mantra all the time, then repeat it as often as possible. It will help to prevent accidents, robberies, hijackings, and other calamities. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sivanandaya. 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 Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Vandanaन् Mrityormukshyamamritat. 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 Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiv Vandanaन् Mrityormukshyamamritat.
श्री सद्गुरुदेव की जय। जय जय आरती विघ्न विनायक विघ्न विनायक
दत्तात्रेय दत्तात्रेय त्रिमूर्ति अवतारा जय जय आरती सद्गुरुनादा सद्गुरुनादा भगवान शिवानंदा सद्गुरुनादा भगवान विश्वानंदा जय जय आरती विघ्न विनायक ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्ति भवतु सर्वेषां शान्ति भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति 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 श्री सद्गुरु भगवान की जय।